In the heart of a forgotten prehistoric wetland, where the morning mist hangs low and thick like a living veil, a small dinosaur breaks through the shell that once protected it from the chaos of the outside world, blinking against the soft glow of filtered sunlight rippling through towering ferns and conifers. Steam rises from warm mud, carrying the deep earthy scent of moisture and life, and the newborn creature, trembling and unsure, takes in its surroundings with wide, untested eyes. Every ripple in the shallow pools reflects a world that seems endless, alive, and hungry, and every distant cry echoes with warnings it cannot yet understand. Instinct, faint but insistent, urges it to move, to stand, to breathe in the wildness around it, and its legs wobble beneath the weight of its own fragility as it stumbles into the shadows and shifting leaves. The marsh is a place of constant motion. Insects hum in tangled clouds, water drips from massive fronds overhead, and beneath the soil, ancient forces churn with the slow rhythm of unseen giants. The hatchling feels tremors through the mud and freezes, sensing something massive walking far beyond the safety of its birthplace, the vibrations rolling through the earth like low thunder. Drawn by hunger, the tiny creature follows slivers of reflected sky toward a small pool where minnows dart beneath the surface, shimmering like fragments of scattered sunlight. As it leans closer, unaware of the dangers beneath the calm, a sleek predator lurking just under the water's surface stirs, its silhouette gliding with silent patience. When the surface breaks in a sudden eruption, jaws snapping shut at empty air where the hatchling stood a heartbeat earlier, mud splashes across its snout as it scrambles backward into the tall reeds, trembling and breathless from its first encounter with death. Above, shadowy wings drift in slow circles, pterosaurs surveying the chaos below with predatory curiosity, forcing the vulnerable creature to fold itself into the reeds and remain perfectly still until the sky returns to silence. When the danger lifts, the young dinosaur wanders deeper into the wetland, stepping across mud stamped with the prints of much larger beasts. One enormous track radiates a scent so powerful, so commanding, that it freezes the juvenile in place, its instincts screaming caution even before a distant roar splits the valley with raw authority. The ground trembles with the approach of a giant, its footsteps sending ripples across every pool and vibration through every root, and the hatchling crouches low as a massive predator emerges through fog-drenched ferns, its head swinging slowly, tasting the air for intruders. The juvenile barely breathes until the titan loses interest and moves on, leaving behind only shaking leaves and the heavy silence of a narrow escape. With its heart racing, the young dinosaur resumes its journey, driven by hunger and the growing awareness that survival in this valley demands both instinct and luck. When it returns to the water, it approaches with greater caution, learning to wait, to observe, and to strike only when the moment is right. A single successful catch, a tiny fish wriggling between its teeth, fills its chest with a warmth unfamiliar yet empowering. As dusk descends, the wetland transforms into a chorus of buzzing insects and distant calls from creatures returning to their shelters. The juvenile follows the cooling air toward a soft patch of grass sheltered by overhanging branches, where it curls into a trembling sleep, ears twitching at every rustle of movement. Night in the marsh belongs to hunters, and even in slumber, the young dinosaur senses danger all around it. Yet dawn comes again, painting the valley in hues of gold, and with it the young creature rises, slightly stronger, slightly wiser, shaped by the lessons of its first day. It moves through the mud with new awareness, reading the shifting currents and faint vibrations beneath its feet, knowing now that the world it has entered is filled with beauty and danger woven tightly together. When it accidentally enters the territory of another predator later that morning, it only survives through desperate speed and the narrow escape offered by tangled roots, learning firsthand that strength is earned over time and instinct is sharpened through fear. And as it watches a peaceful herd of herbivores grazing in shallow pools, absorbing their calm vigilance, it begins to understand more deeply the rhythms of this ancient land. Every creature here, large or small, is held in a delicate balance between survival and extinction, and the young dinosaur, though fragile, feels a spark of determination ignite within its chest. It has survived its first day, its first night, and its first predator, and as the warm wind sweeps across the reeds, carrying the sense of countless unseen lives, it takes another step into the valley that will shape its destiny. As the juvenile grows into adolescence, the prehistoric marshland around it transforms from a bewildering maze of dangers into a complex world it can finally begin to understand, though the valley itself offers no mercy to the unprepared. The mornings arrive heavy with swirling mist that clings to the ground and muffles even the sharpest sound. Yet through this haze the young dinosaur navigates with increasing certainty, reading the faint tremors beneath its feet and the shifting patterns of distant calls. Its body is leaner now, stronger, the once fragile limbs firm with muscle forged through constant movement, and each step it takes sinks into the mud with confident purpose. The marsh begins to reveal its hidden patterns, where fish gather at dawn, where small mammals scatter in the ferns, where predators lurk with silent patience. The adolescent learns quickly that hunger drives creatures into dangerous places, and as it stalks a shallow pool glittering with small fish one morning, it moves with deliberate caution, sensing the lurking shape beneath the surface long before its younger self would have noticed. A massive ripple breaks the calm, a shadow gliding toward the light, and instead of panicking, the adolescent steps back, waiting for the predator to surface elsewhere before slipping around the pool to approach from another angle. A quick strike earns a well-deserved meal, but before it can swallow, a dark shape sweeps across the water as a large pterosaur dives for the same catch, screeching with frustration when the adolescent lashes out defensively. The winged thief circles, but eventually abandons the attempt, leaving the adolescent with its prize and a spark of pride burning in its chest. But pride in this valley is dangerous, for every victory attracts new trials. As the creature wanders deeper into the wetland, following a faint scent trail that winds between massive cycads, it unknowingly enters the boundary of a powerful adult predator. The reeds ahead shudder before parting, revealing the colossal beast in full display, muscles rippling beneath scar-crossed skin and eyes gleaming with cold territorial fury. The adolescent freezes, every instinct screaming danger as the adult releases a roar that rattles the marrow of the earth. With lightning speed, the adolescent sprints, mud splashing beneath its feet as it darts through narrow paths only a smaller creature could navigate, weaving between roots and fallen trunks until the adult becomes momentarily stuck in the dense undergrowth. The adolescent slips away, heart pounding, lungs burning, yet alive. Shaken but wiser, it moves to safer ground where the sunlight breaks through the canopy in warm golden shafts, illuminating a peaceful herd of herbivores grazing in shallow water. Their massive bodies and gentle movements offer a rare sense of stability in a world driven by constant conflict. Watching them, the adolescent studies how they remain vigilant, how they shift positions to protect the young, how their collective awareness forms an early warning system unmatched by any single creature. It lingers near the herd, finding temporary safety in their rhythm, until the afternoon heat pushes many animals deeper into the marsh. As evening approaches, the air thickens with humidity and distant thunder hints at an approaching storm, making the valley feel tense and unpredictable. While moving through dense reeds, the adolescent senses another presence drawing closer, a rival of similar size and age stepping cautiously through the undergrowth. The two adolescents lock eyes, their bodies tensing as they circle each other, each testing the other's resolve. Instinct urges them both to assert dominance, yet neither wants to risk injury. A low growl eventually settles the confrontation, and the rival withdraws slowly, leaving behind only the rustling of disturbed foliage. That night, the adolescent sleeps lightly beneath low branches as wind sweeps across the wetland, and every gust carries sense of new movement. Shifting predators, restless prey, the building tension of a storm. By dawn, the sky hangs heavy with dark clouds, and the adolescent senses the unease rippling through the marsh long before the first drops fall. Storms alter everything here, carving new paths, drowning old ones, and forcing every creature into desperate motion. The adolescent follows deep tracks imprinted in recently disturbed mud, finding signs of a violent struggle, splashes of blood, broken reeds, and a half-submerged carcass floating in a shallow channel. Scavengers circle overhead, but something far more dangerous lurks beneath the water. A gigantic crocodilian erupts in a thundering spray of foam, its jaws closing around the carcass before dragging it down into the churning depths, narrowly missing the adolescent. Rain begins to fall, turning the ground slick and treacherous. Within minutes, the valley floods and paths the adolescent once knew vanish under rising water. It seeks shelter under hanging branches as thunder cracks across the sky, lightning illuminating the twisted shapes of conifers swaying violently in the wind. When the storm finally weakens, the marsh has become unrecognizable. Flooded channels cutting through familiar terrain, predator scents smeared and distorted by rushing water. As the adolescent ventures out cautiously, the ground shivers beneath its feet. A sandbank collapses and a hidden predator bursts upward, jaws snapping wildly. The adolescent bolts up the nearest incline, its claws scrambling for grip as the creature lunges again but sinks back into the mud, defeated by the unstable terrain. Exhausted, the adolescent pauses only to detect a familiar scent nearby. Emerging from the reeds is the injured rival from before, limping heavily with dried blood streaking its flank. Instead of posturing, both creatures sense the storm has humbled them. They move together for a time, an unspoken partnership born from shared struggle. But deeper in the storm haze, a roar so deep it feels like the earth itself calls out, and a colossal adult, larger and more scarred than any they have seen, steps into view, scanning the ravaged marshland with slow, thunderous breaths. The adolescents freeze beneath reeds, invisible in the chaos. Only when the giant leaves do they breathe again. And when the moment passes, their brief alliance dissolves. For the marsh teaches all creatures the same truth. Survival is ultimately a solitary journey. When the storm finally retreats and sunlight glimmers across the reshaped valley, the adolescent, now stronger and edging toward adulthood, steps into a world transformed by destruction and renewal, a landscape carved into new patterns by wind, water, and chaos. The once familiar marsh feels wider and sharper, filled with fresh scents, exposed roots, and glistening pools that were never there before, as though the valley itself has shed an old skin and revealed a new, unpredictable body beneath. The young dinosaur moves through this aftermath with cautious confidence, its senses tuned to every subtle shift in sound and vibration, its muscles lean and powerful beneath a hide marked by close encounters and narrow escapes. It approaches a deep pool created by the storm, watching the swirling currents with a hunter's patience, recognizing the telltale movements of fish drawn into new waterways. Once it would have rushed forward blindly, driven only by hunger, but now it waits, reading the ripples, the flickers of light, the faint shadows gliding beneath the surface. When it finally strikes, the motion is flawless, a swift, practiced lunge that brings up the largest fish it has ever caught. This catch is more than a meal. It is a sign of growth, a signal that the adolescent has mastered one of the marsh's oldest lessons. Timing is everything. With the confidence of a survivor no longer ruled by fear, it moves through the mud with a new rhythm, its steps deliberate and quiet. The valley, still buzzing with the energy of the storm's aftermath, teems with displaced prey and predators alike. Herds migrate to higher ground, while smaller creatures scurry through the undergrowth, seeking shelter from flooded burrows. Every creature is moving, adapting, finding its place again in the shifting hierarchy of the land. The young dinosaur senses opportunity in their chaos, learning the routes these animals take, how they behave when cornered, how to approach without detection. It stalks a group of small herbivores grazing along a fresh riverbank, noting how their ears twitch at distant sounds, how they cluster when nervous, how they bolt at even the faintest tremor. The adolescent lowers its body, moving through tall reeds with fluid precision, but a sudden bellow in the distance disrupts the moment, scattering the herd and forcing the young hunter to retreat into cover. The call belongs to a massive predator claiming its hunting rights now that territories have been washed clean. This land has always belonged to the strongest, but after the storm, the rules feel newly rewritten. Drawn toward the source of the bellow, the adolescent moves across cracked earth where retreating water has exposed old roots and the bones of creatures long forgotten. The wind shifts, carrying the scent of a powerful adult, and the adolescent freezes, sensing that the valley's former master is re-establishing its dominance. The giant creature emerges from the broken tree line with slow, thunderous steps, every scar across its hide telling a story of conflict and survival. The young dinosaur watches from deep in the reeds, studying the adult's movements, learning from its authority. There is no challenge in its heart, not yet, but a spark of ambition flares quietly. It retreats silently, following the edge of the forest where new growth sprouts in clusters, pushing through the muddy ground with vibrant determination. In this region untouched by the adult predator's patrol, the young dinosaur finds its own territory forming naturally, a place rich in prey and sheltered from larger threats. It marks this area subtly, growing more confident as days pass. The marsh responds to its presence with shifting trails, fresh footprints, new scents, the beginning of its influence taking shape. One evening, as the sun sinks behind jagged silhouettes of conifers, the adolescent spots a familiar figure limping across the bank, the rival from before, thinner now, worn from its own battles. The two meet in a tense moment of recognition. No growls this time, no challenge, only mutual understanding. They stand together briefly, acknowledging the winding paths that brought them both to this point. Then, without conflict, they part ways once more. The valley is different now, but so are they. In the following days, the young dinosaur hones its skills relentlessly. It perfects ambush techniques, learns to predict the movements of prey, and grows into its strength with every hunt. The creatures of the marsh begin to sense its rising authority, adjusting their paths to avoid unwanted encounters. One morning, it confronts a mid-sized predator encroaching on its territory. The fight is swift and decisive, ending with the challenger fleeing, wounded and defeated. The adolescent stands tall over the reclaimed ground, chest rising and falling with fierce resolve. This victory marks a turning point. The valley now recognizes a new contender. Storm clouds gather again in the distance, but the young dinosaur feels no fear. It has become part of the land's rhythm, forged by its trials, sharpened by its dangers, strengthened by every success and failure. As the wind shifts and the marsh rustles with anticipation, the once fragile hatchling, now a near-grown hunter, steps confidently into the heart of its transforming territory, ready to shape its destiny in a world ruled by instinct, power, and the relentless drive to survive.